Chapter 41, The Meeting of Bigwigs. It's nice to meet you too, Mr. John Jameson. How do you know me? There has been no such information in my database of us meeting, Jarvis said with a monotonic voice. Tony looked at him with surprise too. I know a lot, Jarvis. And you too, Tony. I know your past, your present and future, John said. Pepper too looked to him weirdly. My future? Is that why you warned me to be safe in Afghanistan? Why did you not inform me from before? Tony asked seriously. Tony, I don't want to influence too much of your destiny, and this journey was necessary for you. Didn't you get to see the horrors of your own creation? John said. Before Tony could reply, they saw a luxurious car coming towards them through the gate. The gate mechanism didn't stop the intrusion, surprisingly. Sir, I couldn't stop his intrusion. He disabled the gate's mechanism, Jarvis added. Tony heard it, but he didn't say anything as he had a hunch of who the person was. After the car stopped, a handsome tall man with black hair came out. He looked lean and had muscles in all the right places, and that was visible even though he wore a suit. How are you holding up, Tony? You should replace that thing in your chest. It's not working in full efficiency. Hello, John. It's nice to see you again. I like the new home you arranged. It's spacious. Thank you. That trip was fulfilling. Got to see the scum of this world too, the man said after coming out of his Mercedes in a deep voice. You must be Bruce. Thank you for saving me there, Tony said after realization you would have saved yourself anyways. That suit would have kept you alive. Bruce said. Hello, Miss Potts. You must be confused. I am Bruce Wayne. It must be hard to handle a guy like Tony, he added while greeting Pepper. Hello, I am sorry I don't recognize you, she replied with more confusion. Pepper, this is Bruce Wayne. You know him by other name. The Batman. You remember the movie, right? He is that Bruce Wayne. Tony said to Pepper. What? You are Batman? How is that possible? Batman is just a movie? I remember the movie. There is no Gotham City here. Pepper said. Actually, Tony had the same doubts, but he didn't get to ask. If Batman was a real person, then why will John make movies? Because according to what he understood, Batman's superhero avatar is based on stealth. Making a movie on him will just expose him. Well, that's what I wanted to say. We don't belong to this universe. Rather to a different parallel universe. Due to unknown reasons we traveled to this Earth. And John has the powers to identify beforehand who will come to this world. He makes the movies because so that the people who came or will travel in the future can approach him and he can make the traveler understand their situations. Bruce said, you mean you don't belong to this Earth? So the theory of parallel universe is real. This is unbelievable. Wait, by your words you mean there are other people who have traveled before? Who are they? The Transformers? And you mean other travelers will also come? Tony said yes, some have traveled. Bumblebee has already arrived. He is my car. Others from Cybertron haven't come. I am not sure if they will. I just dreamed of their story. Others too have arrived and I have arranged for them accordingly. The other party was the one who rescued Yinsen. Don't worry, Yinsen is fine. They are the best in medical, John interjected. Tony was shocked inside. So Yinsen is fine. That's good. I hope to see him soon. The big liar. Tony smiled as he said that and then suddenly asked excitedly. Can I see Bumblebee? Sure, but he is in New York. You will have to go there to see him, replied John. So Tony, I guess you will work on your suit now. Do you need help? Bruce asked Tony. Tony was silent for a few seconds and then, after thinking of all the horrors he saw in his captivity, he wanted to do something about it. Can you help me? I am not judging you, but your suit and my suit are totally different, Tony said with a hint of pride because he felt that Batman's suit will not be worth mentioning in front of his metal suit. Who do you think made the plane that rescued you? Bruce replied without any emotion. What, you made that plane? Didn't Lucius make it? Tony asked in a surprised way. This time it was John who replied. Tony, don't trust the movies that I make very much. Movies and real life story is different. Like you, he is a genius from his world. His butler Alfred too is very knowledgeable. The movie that I made is another version of Batman in another universe. There are many similarities but there are differences too, I understand. Sure, Batman, let me see how much of a genius you are. I will handle some things before and in a few days we will start making the suit. Tony said sure, I will bring Alfred to help too. I too might get some inspiration for my bat suit, Bruce said. Chapter 42, New Mark II. Tony decided to trust Bruce because he felt he can be trusted and Bruce saved him from the cave. Tony didn't realize that he was subtly affected by the movie, and since he believed it's Bruce's life story and was a superhero in his world, Tony felt that they could work together and even wanted to check out his Batwing that he saw before. Tony didn't for a minute doubt the words of John, as he can't guess the presence of cheat like John's system, as that was unscientific. The next day Tony went to meet Rhodes to say that if he would want to join in a project, but Rhodes refused and asked him to take time and make his mind right. After 2 nights at the home of Tony Stark, Pepper and Tony were one side of the roof. Tony now had a new arc reactor in his chest as he changed with the help of Pepper. Tonight they were going to receive 2 guests. The Batwing descended at the roof, which was covered in surroundings. Alfred and Bruce climbed out of the Batwing. "Welcome to my home." "Hello, Alfred." Tony said. "Hello, Master Stark. It's nice to meet you too, Miss Potts," Alfred replied. Tony noticed that Alfred was much younger than he thought. "Hello, Mr. Alfred. Please step inside," Pepper said. They directly went for the lab and started working on the suit for Tony. After few minutes of discussion, Tony realized that Bruce was really knowledgeable and started making the proper changes in the design. After a week of changes and adjustments to the actual mark-eye drawings, the new suit was ready. Tony didn't have to go through any failed tests like in the actual version, like for example when he used more energy on thrusters and got slammed in the ceiling. Tony even added functions to avoid icing on his suit in high altitude after taking tips from Alfred. Tony went for a test run which went perfectly, and after the warning of Bruce he landed slowly in the roof as opposed to destroying the roof in the original version. Bruce also followed him in Batwing to make sure everything went well in the test run. "You should use gold titanium alloy to have a good power-to-weight ratio for the exoskeleton of the suit. It will help in pressurization and icing too," Bruce said. "Yes, that will help," Tony said as they discussed to make the suit better. Suddenly, as they were discussing, Tony from the corner of an eye saw the TV showing about a charity benefit of Tony Stark. "I don't remember you being invited," Bruce commented as he watched the news. "Because I was not invited, Jarvis. Was I invited?" Tony asked. "No, sir. I have no such record," Jarvis said. "Then I guess you should get ready," Alfred said as he served a cup for them. "I will bring out the suit. Miss Pepper is already at the event," Alfred said. "Thanks, Alfred," Tony said, while Bruce still looked at the schematics and thinking of how to improve the Batsuit. "Batsy, you are coming too. Get ready. We need to go out and have some fun," Tony said. "Yes, Master Bruce, you should also go and meet the people of this world. And maybe find someone interesting," Alfred added to Tony's comment. "Fine," Bruce said. "Jarvis, paint the suit while we are out." "Alfred, don't you want to attend the event?" Tony asked. "It's fine, Master Stark. I will be at home going through your suit again." "Jarvis will accompany me," Alfred said while smiling. "Happy to be of service," Jarvis added. Tony didn't say anything and went to the event with Bruce. As soon as he reached the event, the reporters flocked to Tony. Tony even saw Obadiah and exchanged a greeting. Bruce and Tony then went to the bar to order drinks. As they were taking a sip, Carlson appeared from behind and said, "Hello, gentlemen. Oh, I know you. You are from S.H.I.E.L.D., Mr. Stark, and this must be Mr. Bruce Wayne." "Hello, Mr. Bruce," Carlson said. "You know Bruce? I thought only few people know of his existence." Tony was surprised. "John is a consultant of their organization. I guess you came to know what happened in Afghanistan. I can give you a report after the event. Is that fine?" Bruce said. "Sure, I will be here for that," Carlson said. Later, Tony saw Pepper in a gorgeous dress and immediately asked for a dance. Bruce too danced with a woman. Tony went out with Pepper to the roof later and almost kissed, but both backed out. When Tony came back to bar to get another drink for both of them, the girl reporter who slept with him before came and showed him pictures of Golmara, the town where Yinsen was from. "I didn't file any shipment," Tony refuted. "Well, your company did," she said. "I am not my company," saying that he left and confronted Obadiah. Obadiah said he did all this protect him and the company, including him being locked out. Tony stood there trembling in anger and immediately left. Chapter 43, The Expected Conspiracy. After speaking to Carlson, Bruce came back to Tony's place. He expected that Tony was at home as he noticed him going out. But there was only Alfred sitting down at the lab. "Where's Tony?" Bruce asked. "Master Stark just came and wore the suit and flew away without saying anything," Alfred said. "Jarvis, where's Tony?" Bruce asked. Mr. Stark is currently flying over the Atlantic Ocean at a speed of 120 miles per hour heading towards Europe. Jarvis replied. I should have gone with him, Bruce said as he felt there must be a reason why he was flying towards Europe and it must be serious. John normally doesn't share all the memories with the characters being bought out. He only gave glimpses of future and enemies they would have to face. John didn't want to babysit the heroes of actual world and the characters brought from other world because if he helped everywhere then the superheroes won't grow in character. Soon according the original timeline, Tony arrived at Gulmara and destroyed the weapons while killing bunch of terrorists. While returning back he was attacked by the US Air Force but he managed to shake them off while saving the pilot whose plane exploded. Rhodes helped him covering up but asked for better personal explanation later. Tony returned only to see Bruce eyeing him with dangerous eyes. Tony felt a chill in his bones by looking at him like that. Did you think I saved your life so that you can throw it away in that damned place again? Bruce said in a very cold voice. Well, I came back safe and sound. Isn't it? Tony said. Before Bruce could reprimand Tony they heard a voice saying, what is that? Are those bullet marks? Pepper who just came to the lab saw Tony who was taking off the suit with the help of Jarvis while Bruce and Alfred looking at him. This is not what it looks like, Pepper. This won't be sold to anyone. I want to correct my legacy, Tony said with seriousness. It's all fine if you make weapons and other things. But I won't be a part of this if you put your life online, Pepper said with immense sadness. Tony was shocked and at the end convinced her that what he was doing was right for the first time. I want you to hack into the main server of the company and find out if there are any back deals going on. I am locked out of the company so I can't go in. Bruce can accompany you, Tony added at the end. Bruce was still angry about his carelessness to go so far without any backup but he knew this was important now so he didn't refuse this. I will do this last job for you then I will resign, Pepper said and she left. Tony, you should tell her your feelings. The world is more dangerous than you think. Don't keep any regrets. After saying that, Bruce left to follow Pepper to the company. Soon Pepper and Bruce came to the main office of Obadiah and Pepper started the process with the help of USB device given by Tony while Bruce stayed at the door to be on lookout. Soon the truth came out as she watched the video showing that Obadiah was responsible for the kidnapping of Tony and his new project with suits named Sector 16. While the information was being copied, Bruce said that Obadiah was coming and she needed to hide. So she hid the hard drive with a newspaper. Who is he? Your new bodyguard, Obadiah said after entering the office. Yeah. Tony said I needed an assistant so I hired him. What's up? Pepper said after calming herself. Then they initiated small talks while making sure that Obadiah doesn't realize that all the files were being copied. Finally, after the process was completed, she left in a hurry. Obadiah knew that something was wrong but he didn't say anything, but when he saw that all the files were copied he knew that his secret was out. Obadiah is responsible for the kidnapping of Tony and there is a new project called Sector 13 where he is making a suit. He might be up to something bad. Bruce, I hope you can help him. Sure. I will call Carlson to accompany you to this Sector 13. He can protect you in case of emergency. I will go back to Tony's place to inform him. You can call Rhodes too. Having a support from military can help, Bruce said. Pepper informed Rhodes and Bruce called Carlson for backup. After half an hour Carlson came and Bruce left for Tony's place. When Bruce came to Tony's place he saw Alfred lying unconscious in the living room. Bruce was stunned and immediately woke him up. What happened? Where is Tony? Bruce asked. Master Bruce, Tony is in danger. You need to go to save him. Tony was in the laboratory before Alfred replied somehow as he was still not fully conscious. Chapter 44. The fight. Bruce reached the laboratory only to see Stark crawling towards the previous arc reactor which Pepper gifted him. His original arc reactor was missing from his chest. Bruce ran to the old arc reactor and placed it in his chest. Tony finally returned to normal after few minutes. At that point Rhodes too came and saw Tony getting ready in the suit. This is the coolest thing I have ever seen, Rhodes said. Tony, Obadiah took away your reactor to fuel his own version of suit he got from your Mark I. You will have to be careful, Bruce said as he himself started to put his suit. You are? Rhodes asked, feeling weird because he had never seen this new person before and from his words it felt like Tony and him are good friends but he had never seen him before. Bruce Wayne. A friend of Tony. We can talk about myself later. We have to go now. Alfred, Jarvis guide us when required, Bruce said. Sure sir, both said immediately. Rhodes keep the sky clear for us, Tony said after putting his suit on. Jarvis bring out the tumbler. Alfred, I might need the Batwing. Take its wheel. Bruce said. Bruce had brought all the 3 vehicles in the garage as he needed some modification to do. The Batmobile came near him as he went to the garage. He went inside while Tony flew away. Rhodes was stunned when he saw such a huge vehicle and wondered where he had seen this vehicle before. Hello. Can I know who is he? Rhodes asked Alfred as he saw them riding away. Alfred just smiled but didn't say anything as it's not his secret to say. Tony reached when Pepper was about to be attacked and fought with him, but the fight led to the streets. It happened exactly as the same in the original world. But as soon as the fight started in the streets, suddenly Obadiah was hit by big bullets from behind. Even though the bullets failed to penetrate the armor but it dented the armor by lot, Bruce realized that Obadiah had changed the exoskeleton because the bullets in the Batmobile didn't pierce the armor. Tony, he has upgraded your armor, Bruce said over the network. Who are you? Well, it doesn't matter. Since you shot me, now it's my turn, Obadiah said, and immediately launched a missile towards the Batmobile, and it exploded immediately after it was hit. No, Bruce. You piece of shit, Tony shouted in an agitated voice, and Tony started fighting after against Obadiah. You care about a person's life who you have probably met a few days ago. You disappointed me, Tony, Obadiah said. And while they were fighting, Obadiah was hit by a small device on his neck and it exploded immediately after. The device came from exploded Batmobile. And from there emerged a motorbike with huge tires and mounted guns on both sides and a man in a bat suit riding it. After coming out of the fire, he immediately started raining bullets on Obadiah and he was thrown away by the impact as the bike was up close. Now, we need to disable his suit. Take him to high altitude. His suit will develop ice on its armor, Bruce suggested after approaching Tony riding the bike. Yes. Where is your Batwing? We need it, Tony said. We are here, Master Stark. Now mount him over the plane. Be sure that he doesn't fall, Alfred said over the call. Bruce and Tony immediately went towards Obadiah, who was lying down. Tony sent a missile to Obadiah while Bruce threw incendiary device at him, which exploded immediately. Obadiah, who was trying to get up, got blasted away again and became unconscious. Tony put Obadiah over the Batwing after spending a lot of energy as the Obadiah's suit was really heavy. The Batwing immediately flew away to high altitude while Tony made sure that he doesn't fall down from the Batwing. They went to high altitude and icing started to form on Obadiah's suit. After a certain altitude, Tony threw him down. Tony, whose energy on his reactor was negligible, started to come down and Alfred gave him a lift at the end as he saw Tony working on fumes. Obadiah didn't survive the fall as he was unconscious and his suit was heavily damaged from missiles and bullets before. A day later, after the fight, John, Bruce, Coulson, Tony, Alfred, and Pepper were in a room. John came in the next morning when he saw the fight happen in the streets. Though there was a huge change in the plot, but the general trajectory was the same. It reinforced his belief that even if there was a butterfly effect on the events, but still it didn't change the actual hero's story very much. John came to see that famous scene in the press conference that will mark an era to come. Chapter 45, I am Iron Man. Here's your alibi. You were on a yacht and here's the signature of 15 people who can testify for this. And John, you can just say the half-truth. Of course the thing of other universe should be omitted. I think you know what you say, Coulson said, after handing the statement to Tony. Iron Man. That's a nice name. Bruce, what do you think? Tony asked as reading the newspaper. Bruce just shrugged and didn't say anything while Coulson left. I have a gift for you all for defeating Obadiah, John said while bringing out a cubic suitcase. Gift? Are you going to give me the shares of my company back? Tony asked as he knew John bought many shares when it went down. No, Tony, it's much better than that, said John while opening the suitcase. I got it much earlier, but I think this will be more helpful for you. Of course I might have to take it for some of its uses in future. Bruce and Tony both looked at it. Tony suddenly thought of something and became excited. Is this what I think it is? Tony asked. Yes, it's the cube, John said. Use it well. Thanks, John. Bruce said. Okay, let's go for the press release. In the press release, John came to the podium first. Hello, Mr. John. The videos circulating say that the guy in the fight in the freeway was Batman. Is that true? A reporter asked. Because all already knew John wasn't Batman because in body structure-wise his body is completely different from Batman. Yes, it was Bruce Wayne. I can say truthfully that he is indeed real and he is my friend, but I can't reveal his face. That's the least I can do as a friend and protect him, John said. This caused a commotion. Is the story in your movie real? Another reporter asked after silence prevailed. Yes, some of the parts are indeed real, but some are just for selling the movie, John said. Now Tony will give his press release, John continued. Thanks, John. Now I will follow the script unlike last time to vilify myself again, Tony said as he laughed and came on stage, and the following scenes followed exactly like in the original world. I am not a superhero because that would be ridiculous and fantastic, Tony said, being little distracted. I never said you are a superhero, the reporter said, who questioned him before. The truth is, I am Iron Man, Tony said with a smirk. And immediately the reporters went crazy and started asking him questions, but he left, turning around, refusing to take any questions. So it starts, John said. Yes, and it starts. This is going to be a long and dangerous journey. I hope we will strong enough, Bruce said while standing beside him. I hope so too, John said. Let's go. I can't wait to try the power of the cube, Tony said. Tony, at first try to solve your problem, John said in a serious expression while pointing to his chest. You know it too? Well, I guess you will know since you can see glimpses of future. Will I be able to get rid of the poisoning? Tony asked. Tony, the future I see is never constant. It changes. Don't rely on my powers, but yes, in alternate future you did find the solution. I just don't know. Maybe you can look into your father's work. It might help, John reminded Tony, which was almost close to the truth, as future is never constant. Him being in the universe already means that the trajectory has changed. I understand. Bruce, what will you do? Do you want to try this cube's powers? Sure, Bruce said. Soon after John left for New York. He had work to do now. Since Batman became real, his influence in the world would change as he was the friend of superhero. He was thinking of expanding his network by starting a television channel and broadcasting various cartoons from previous life to extract more fans. There was a sharp rise in the number of fans after Batman came out real. He was happy about it and he needed to capitalize on it. Ding, total number of fan values, 6 million. It rose 1 million in just 2 days and it's still rising. That good. I need to think of a world which can influence all but be equally balanced. Now the plot of Iron Man 2 will start. I will try to help if there is diversion in the story. Bruce can help him too. I have 2 more years for Thor. Let's start with mythology. I already have a character during his emergence. Bruce needs more suit too. I hope the cube can help him in this regard, John thought to himself. Chapter 46. The post-credits scene. In the next 2 months he did lots of things like making a television channel and introduced various cartoons, starting new animes and making 2 more movies. The 2 movies he has in mind will help him gain more recognition. He had already shared his ideas of how to use apps in mobiles to Google and told them to work on it. John wanted to bring another character, and for that he needed to do the proper work to achieve fan value, because bringing a powerful character is going to cost him, and he wanted to bring some knowledge from a particular anime. This knowledge would help him gain a power without even changing himself to characters. John even tied up with an European company to make games, specially working on role-playing games, because only that will bring characters, but developing games needs a lot of time, so he would have to work hard and make necessary preparations. At the meantime in LA, John and Bruce who were working on the cube when a certain man visited them. Instead of showing up suddenly from shadows like always, Fury came from the front door this time. Hello Mr. Bruce, it's nice to finally meet you, and you too, Stark. I am Iron Man. You think you are the only superhero in the world? Fury asked. Bruce here is also a superhero, so of course no. I know that I am not alone. Oh yes, Bruce said that someone took away Yinsen to save. I guess he too is a superhero. I hope he is fine. Who are you, by the way? Tony lamented. Fury took out a mobile with connected a video call. Yinsen popped out from the video and said, I am fine, Tony. Yinsen, you are fine? That's great. Where have you been? Why aren't you here? Tony asked. Yes, I'm fine. Director Fury here brought me to you. The things and the people I have seen are so awesome. Never knew such a world existed, Tony. Yinsen said with wonder in his eyes. Fury coughed as he said that. Sorry, Director, I know the rules. The reason I am not beside you is because I can't go out of their dimension. I am not safe outside. So for now I can't meet you. Yinsen continued. What happened? You can tell me what you know. I will sue them in court if they do anything to you. Tony said while eyeing Fury. It's okay, Tony. Their world is different and their people are way too powerful for this world. And they did no harm to me. I can't tell you why I can't go out, but rest assured I am safe. It's better we have secrecy. Yinsen replied. Fine. One day I will find this so-called world myself. Wait, if this is a world, only one work of John fully consists of a full-fledged world apart from Bruce's Earth. Shit. You mean Naruto is real? OMG. Tony said. Tony was smart enough to understand from the hints given by Yinsen. I am Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sometimes you are too knowledgeable for your own good, Stark. You better keep it under wraps. Or else one day your body will be found in the seas and I won't be responsible for it. Yinsen will be working for S.H.I.E.L.D. now as a liaison between us and the 5 cages and won't be coming out. Fury said seriously. I know. Bruce here too won't say anything. Tony said without even asking Bruce. I am sorry for his rude behavior. It must be hard to be put up with his attitude, Fury said to Bruce. Mr. Bruce, I hope you can come with us later for your assessment by S.H.I.E.L.D. I will have to follow some protocols and make a report. John told me that your world too is very dangerous. Fury asked. Sure. I am fine with Tony. He provides me the platform to better myself and we can share ideas so little bit of arrogance can be handled. Bruce said without even considering the feelings of Tony. I thought you are my friend, Bruce. You hurt me. Tony commented sarcastically. Even though I don't like being subjected to such ridiculous assessments, but John had asked this from me, so I guess I will accept it. Bruce added. And answering to the question, yes. Our world was or is dangerous. I hope they don't come to this universe. It will be very difficult if he comes, Bruce said, clutching his fist. He has 2 worlds of memories and both worlds' dark side was terrifying. He? Who's he? Tony asked. He could see the helplessness, anger, and guilt all over his face. It was the same he felt when he was on the cave. Fury too was interested. But Bruce didn't answer to that. I understand, Mr. Bruce. Are there any more superheroes in your world? Fury asked. My world? There are some. We were a team. Some are really powerful. Powerful enough to destroy Earth single-handedly, Bruce said with a smile. My God, you are saying that you have a group of superheroes powerful enough to destroy Earth and you still don't have much confidence with this? Tony was really surprised and shaken this time. The last few months have been great for them. Tony understood Bruce better now. Bruce is an epitome of persecution delusion syndrome. His contingencies had contingencies, be it his suit or his works. He would evaluate everything before giving a green light to anything. Tony felt it was fine if he doesn't come, but if he comes he would have to get ready to stop him and he needed better suits. Then again he remembered he was dying. Bruce and Tony had tried everything but still no result. Now seeing Yinsen he saw a ray of hope, but he wanted to try everything possible to get himself out of his situation. He didn't want to owe a favor to another person again which he didn't even know, and he wasn't sure if they would help him, especially after what Yinsen said. Chapter 47, A New Knowledge. That's why I am here. I am here to talk about the Avengers Initiative. Bruce already has the qualifications to join it and he will be assessed later. It will be a team of superheroes to face threat which might affect humanity in a big way. It's an idea to bring together some remarkable people, to see if they could become something more. Fight battles that the people never could. Tony, you two are on the list, but we need to evaluate you. Fury said. I am more than qualified to join your so-called Avengers Initiative, Tony said nonchalantly. I am rich and have an advanced technology that's enough to make me qualified. Tony, you are reckless, not a team player, and love to make your own decisions. This alone makes you unqualified. Fury cut his arrogance short. Fine, I am exactly same as that description. Can you blame me? Tony shrugged. Even though Tony didn't care about this Avengers much, but he was interested. After seeing Bruce's look at that moment he knew he needed to have powerful friends to safeguard this world. I will invite you to join Avengers when you are ready. Stark. Bruce, can you keep an eye on him? Fury, sure. I am here most of the time anyways, Bruce said. Fury left after that. The months went by. Even after 3 months he couldn't find any solution to his palladium poisoning. Bruce too felt sad. He secretly thought if he couldn't find any solution he would ask John for help at the end. Finally Stark decided to hold Stark Expo to bring geniuses of the world together. He wanted to leave a legacy if he dies. He didn't want to die thinking that only weapons was his legacy. After Stark Expo opened, people were excited as it could mean getting close to a superhero. Pepper was not so happy about it because it would be more waste of money. And for Pepper to stop complaining, Tony made Pepper the CEO of Stark Industries. John, in the meantime, was responsible for releasing a bunch of new animes and in order to generate faster fan values. He even introduced cartoons like Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes and such others. But since their audience were only children, they didn't generate much in a short period of time. Nonetheless, John was happy about it. This would give him powers and he wouldn't have to change himself to protect himself. John spent a full 150 million fan values just to bring the knowledge of the anime to life. He was able to get such high fan values in such a short time was all thanks to animes and cartoons he had been releasing continuously. Before, during Naruto, he only used to get about 20 million fan values per month. Now it had changed to above 25 million. John was stressed. When he came to know about the system, he thought it would be very easy for him to deal with the world, but reality hit him like a truck. Even though he could bring characters and world to life, but the required fan values made him want to cry. He felt that Naruto's world should be reserved for greater threats, but the small threats too needed to be dealt with. John spent the last 2 months studying the new knowledge he acquired. This was a whole new world for him and knowledge was very much extensive. Son, you should go out. You have been studying like mad in the last 2 months. Jameson said worriedly. It's fine, Dad, I just finished my studies. By the way, Dad, I might drop out from high school soon. I don't think they can teach me anything of importance. And I don't have many friends there. I hope you won't stop me. John said. Are you sure about that? Even though you won't need a job in future thanks to your companies. But knowledge is important for a man, Jameson asked with hesitation. Dad, I will be traveling outside Earth soon. Do you think my school knowledge will be helpful? John asked with a smirk. What? Traveling the universe? Are you serious? Has the Earth's technology so advanced? Jameson asked, shocked. Who said it was Earth's technology? And are you sure only Earth technology is helpful traveling the universe? John asked with a smile. What do you mean? You mean aliens will come from another world? Jameson asked with fear now. Human beings have always lived under the fear of attack of higher civilization. You will know soon, Dad, John said mysteriously. I will go to Tony's place tomorrow. I need to share something with him, John said, and started packing all the books in an ordered manner. He had copied all the books in a USB drive too. These books were for somebody else. As he was getting ready and Jameson was making small talks with him, they heard a knock on the door. Valentina went and opened the door only to see a man in suit standing. John had never seen the man before. You are? Jameson asked. I am here for Mr. John Jameson, the man said. Chapter 48, The Promise. Yes, I am here. Go on, spit it out. John said without much care. Being a tycoon, he had to show some arrogance. You are hereby ordered to present yourself for the Senate Armed Service Committee in a week, the man said without much expression in his face. It's finally here. I have been waiting for you, John said with a smile. This time all were surprised when they heard it, including the man who came with the subpoena. I will be there on time. I guess Tony too will be served the same one, right? It doesn't matter. Thank you, by the way, John continued. The man thanked him and left. Are you sure you can handle it alone? I can use my connection to find something dirty on the Senate committee, Jameson said with worry in his face. Dad, did you think I built an empire for money? No, Dad. I made my empire to handle situations like this committee. I have long known that the politicians will come after me. My empire is one of my ways of handling them. And no, I don't want you to interfere. That committee has people with whom I don't want to be in conflict yet. Even though I don't care about their existence, I prefer not to be seen by them, John said as he remembered that the committee had members of Hydra. He didn't want them to know his real situation yet. Fix-It, come with me. We have work to do tonight, he said. Sure, said Fix-It after transforming himself. After coming to the room, John took out 3 drawings that he drew recently. Tattoo these drawings in both of my arms and the small drawing over my hand, he said to Fix-It. Okay, but it might be painful. Fix-It said it's fine. I am ready for it, said John. The next day John packed the books and took them to the bee's trunk. He went out of his home. He now had 3 tattoos on his arms and hand. He needed to deliver a promise he made to someone. Soon he came to Bleecker Street. After taking out a bag full of books he knocked on the New York sanctum. Drum opened the door. You are here again? Meeting with the Ancient One? Drum asked after seeing John. Drum always felt weird about John. John had such a huge empire and he was probably the only person who got the freedom to meet the Ancient One whenever he liked. Yes, Master Drum. I hope you can inform her. John asked politely. The Ancient One told me that you can go to Kamar-Taj directly. Whenever you come. Drum said to him directly. It was evening at New York, so when he crossed the door towards Kamar-Taj it was morning in Nepal. He saw many people practicing magic in the courtyard and then he saw someone he knew from before. Casey Lias. He was stunned. John really wanted to change himself and throw a kunau at his face to avoid future trouble. John, come with me instead of spacing out. A voice from afar came. John, who was clenching his fist and contemplating, he let go of his thoughts after he heard the voice. The people who were practicing looked at John with curiosity. They had never seen a normal guy coming to the temple, and from the voice of Ancient One, they felt he was quite close to the Ancient One from her tone but had never seen him before. John gave a last glance at Casey Lias and left for the main hall. After sitting near the Ancient One he was served tea again like last time. He really loved the tea. What happened? Did you want to kill Casey Lias? The Ancient One said yes, said John without hesitation. He is important for Strange. Before he comes you can't touch Casey Lias, the Ancient One reminded. Fine. It's just I don't want you to die, John said. She just smiled and didn't say anything. Why are you here? New World's emergence, she asked instead. No. Last time I told you I will help you in guarding Earth. This is my help, he said while handing out a big bag. It weighed a lot as it had many books. He wanted to help the Ancient One as he felt his butterfly effect might affect the defense of Earth. So he wanted to add more security for the mages. The Ancient One opened the books and started reading. The more she read the more astonished she was. This knowledge was powerful and dangerous. She saw the tattoos on John's hands. When she first saw those tattoos she felt weird because it never occurred to her that John had a thing for tattoos. But now when she saw the tattoos on his hands she had a different expression on her face. She started reading more into the books with more concentration. After reading for over an hour did she finally put her head up and looked at him. You will have to practice the science which you used on your hands. That power isn't simple, and I hope you don't forget the theory of equivalent exchange, she said to John with a very serious expression. Chapter 49, Seeing Tony again. Of course I know how dangerous is its powers. Didn't you watch the anime I made? John asked her. You think I have a lots of free time to watch all your works, the Ancient One retorted. You really are a monster. You figured out my tattoos with just an hour of reading. No wonder you are Sorcerer Supreme. John murmured under his breath. You want me to keep the books? She asked speculatively. Yes, this is my help. For now. Of course don't share the core information. That will be dangerous. Such knowledge shouldn't be known to anyone. John said. I know. I will make sure that only Sorcerer Supreme will have access to its core knowledge. Thank you, John. This knowledge will help generations of mages. This is a great help, the Ancient One said with all sincerity. It's fine. If there are people who comes to the universe which has magical powers in future I will notify, he said with a smile. Then they discussed on the new knowledge. Even though she didn't have in-depth knowledge she could figure out the general direction of the science involved. After an hour of discussion John felt sleepy, so he excused himself and left Kamar-Taj. She even asked him if he wanted to learn magic. John didn't have so much free time for now. If he has in the future he might try to learn. The next morning John left for LA to meet Tony. After he reached his home he went directly to the laboratory. He noticed that the laboratory has become bigger than last time and it had 2 separate sections. One section looked extravagant and the other looked a little gloomy. John immediately knew that this two have separate laboratories now to work on their projects. Hey John. You are back. Wait, what are those? Tattoos? You like tattoos? You never seem like that kind of person. Tony said as he came to greet John after finishing his work. John could see many small robot-like creatures working on the table. You seem like you are using the full force of the cube to your advantage, John said, and from the corner He saw Bruce coming out from his laboratory with a robotic dog following him. Yeah, thanks to you our work has become easier and faster. Bruce replied to that. By the way, you didn't watch my new series? John asked. Of course we did. Your anime is very colorful. Especially loved Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I loved the whole plot. I cried so many times after watching some scenes. Especially when Colonel Hughes died and her daughter crying on his funeral. Tony said with sadness. It must be very saddening to see such worlds in dreams but can't do anything to stop them, Tony lamented. It's fine. I am used to it by now. Since you have seen the series, don't you know what my tattoos represent? They both were surprised when they heard it. They both came close to see his tattoos and then Bruce suddenly realized something and said, you used scar alchemy and alchemy? And that tattoo in your hand? Flame alchemy? From Roy Mustang. Bruce asked with doubts. John clapped instantly. Yes Bruce, it is exactly as you said. John said. John made those tattoos after gaining knowledge of them from the world of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It was a world where science was based on transmutation, circle and the theory of equivalent exchange. John's right hand could perform decomposition, which means if he wanted, whatever he touched, be it organic or inorganic, it would decompose. And the left arm could reconstruct. Any material could be reshaped to any form of the corresponding material. He could make a spear out of bricks if he wanted. Of course it would take practice. And the last tattoo on his hand was flame alchemy. With just a spark he could make fire and attack enemies with fire. Same as Roy Mustang, the flame alchemist in the anime. Since fire uses oxygen for burning and spark giving the initiation, the theory of equivalent exchange stood valid. My God, now you have the knowledge of their world. Wow, now you can finally use powers. Can you teach me alchemy? I would love to know more about it and see if it could cure my poisoning. Tony asked with enthusiasm. I am here for 2 reasons. One, for the Senate hearing tomorrow. I am sure Tony got it, and secondly, to share the knowledge of alchemy and alchemy. John said. Tony was instantly excited, as that would mean another means to get stronger. As for the Senate hearing, he didn't really care. He just needed to hack on their servers and bring out their dirty work. Both of them are powerful and influential people. The Senate can never force them to do anything. Chapter 50. The hearing, really? That's awesome. I loved the Iron Blood Alchemist. It's a pity that he got killed so easily. Wait, since you have Scar's tattoos, we should have a fight later when I research on iron alchemy. This time I will defeat you and take back the glory of iron alchemy. Tony said with fighting spirit. Sure. But first detoxify yourself. We both need to practice on it. John said after giving the USB drive. Tony took the drive and put it on the table and said, Jarvis, make a private folder labeled as alchemy and give highest security to it. Nobody except me, Bruce and John will have access to it. No, the knowledge of alchemy can never be accessed or saved in a computer which is connected by the internet. Even Jarvis can't get access to it. John stopped Tony, as future Ultron might be a problem if he learns alchemy. Huh, are you sure about that? Tony said, little puzzled. Yes. Never in any computer with internet. John insisted. Fine. Bruce won't accompany for the hearing, as that might lead to speculations of him being Batman. Tony had his first entrance for his expo that night, so he got busy. So he didn't get much time to study alchemy, but they both went through the knowledge. Both were excited and worked up, while John gave some tips to it. He was sure they both would get more out of this knowledge instead of him, as they both were geniuses. At the Stark Expo, Tony landed from an airplane using his Iron Man suit like in the movie and gave a speech for leaving a legacy. Tonight we have 2 guests for you. Ladies and gentlemen, he has the same influence as me, well, maybe a little less, as he is not a superhero but a great man nonetheless. Please welcome the teenager who creates miracles every day, Mr. John Jameson, and followed by my father Howard Stark. Tony ended his speech by that. John came out from behind the stand and said, Thank you, Mr. Stark, for the compliment. Well, I might not be a superhero, but I can definitely be of help to the society. Welcome you all to the Stark Expo. I too will be investing money in this and hope you all can join your minds together and help innovate new ideas and inventions. John said as he got a loud applause. John, like Tony, was very famous as he had his hands on so many things that his existence was now very crucial for the functioning of a society. Let's not hold you all for too much time and welcome Mr. Howard Stark, John continued. After the end of Expo they went back to Tony's place and slept as they had a flight the next day to Washington, D.C. Tony and John, accompanied by Pepper, reached the building of Senate hearing. They both took their seats. "Mr. Stark, please pay attention," said the senator who took charge in the hearing. Tony, who was busy talking with Pepper, turned his head and said, "Yes, dear." This made everyone laugh out loud. "Do you or do you not possess a specialized weapon?" the senator said. "I do not," Tony replied without hesitation. "Then what is the Iron Man weapon?" the senator asked. "My device doesn't fit that description," Tony replied again. "Then how will you describe it?" the senator asked. "It's a It's a high-tech prosthesis," Tony replied, and everybody started laughing at this answer. "It is a weapon, Mr. Stark. It should be handed to the people of the United States," the senator said with a higher voice. "You can forget it. I am Iron Man. Me and the suit are one. Turning it over will be equal to servitude or prostitute depending on what state I am in," Tony replied, and everybody again laughed at it. "I am not an expert in weapons, but we have somebody who is. I would like to call Justin Hammer, our current primary weapons contractor." "Justin? Haha, an expert? What a joke," Tony said out loud. "I am no expert, Tony, as compared to you, of course," Justin replied. Justin went on to give a speech of how dangerous the world was and that America needed technology like Tony's, who was adamant on using it as a shield. The Senate called Colonel Rhodes this time and asked him to say about his doubts, which he submitted before to the military. Rhodes mentioned that it would be unfair as there was a huge report he made about it. Then Rhodes showed how different countries were trying to make weapons such as Iron Man's suit. Tony brought out his mobile and said in a low voice, "Cinch, hack into them and show them the results. Work your magic." The small mobile immediately started working on its own, and soon the images on the screen changed to the scenes of actual results where countries failed to make Iron Man's suit and even lost men due to it. It even showed Justin Hammer's research on the suit where he failed to make a successful test, and even the guy in the suit seemed injured. "The countries might be 5-6 years behind in replicating my suit, but Hammer Industries is at least 10-15 years behind. You should thank me. I am your nuclear deterrent. It's working. We are safe. America is safe. You want my property, you can't have it. I have successfully privatized world peace," Tony said with confidence as everybody gave a standing ovation. Chapter 51, The Woman. "You all are so desperate that you even brought my friend, John, here too. For what? He doesn't even have the technology that you want to so use by yourself," Tony continued. "Tony, it's fine. Senator, you can proceed to your questions," John intervened. "Mr. Jameson, is Batman your friend?" he asked. "Of course he is my friend, Senator," John replied with a smile. Then Mr. Jameson, I would like you to reveal his face. Him having such high-tech weapons is dangerous for the people of United States, Senator replied. When Bruce came to Earth, Nick Fury made a separate identity for Bruce and Alfred, so the normal politicians had no idea of who he was exactly. "Do you want me to rat my friend, Senator?" "I am sorry. I can't do that because that's not what friends do," John said. "Then you will be charged with aiding and abetting a vigilante, Mr. Jameson," said the senator with authority. "Vigilante? You can't even hold on to Tony. Do you think you can hold on to me or Bruce? There is not even a single incident of vigilantism by Bruce, and police can't even prove that it was his work. The weapons which he has is already with many departments of the country, and the only difference is a suit provided by Tony. The only thing is that he is far more efficient, better, and faster than other people around," John said, and everybody on the audience gave a nod accepting it. "The technology of Bruce's suit is provided by me. That's my property. As I said, you can't have it. Bruce is my friend too. Thank you, Senator, for making us take such a long flight and your immense help in wasting our time," Tony added, and started leaving. John too followed and left with Tony. John knew that this was all a facade for showing dominance. The committee knew that they could never force something out of both of them, as that might backfire and bring the economy to its knees. This was a power play by the politicians which turned out to be a failed one and an embarrassment for the people of the world to see. John had made such long preparations just to face this day without any worry. "There will be a Grand Prix in Monaco. I hope you will join it," Tony said to John as they were leaving. "Sure, I would join you at Monaco. Take Bruce too," John replied. John left for his home as he had work to do, and Tony for his with Pepper. In the next few days Tony and Bruce started learning and working on alchemy and alchemy. They were amazed of how vast the knowledge was. They both had plans to use alchemy/alchemy while fighting. After weeks of research, the only solution they could come up with was stopping the palladium poisoning, but it can't cure him as the reactor continues to pollute his blood. Bruce drew a transmutation circle all over his chest and two small transmutation on his feet to channel life energy and stop the advancement of blood pollution. Even though it will stop the poisoning, but if he used his armor too much, the poisoning would still rise, albeit slower this time. Tony was heartbroken when he saw the results. He had hoped a lot out of it, but still it seemed that God had left him barehanded. Tony, in order to distract his mind, started learning fighting tactics from Bruce. He even made an arena at his home just to learn how to fight. As he was practicing with Bruce, Pepper came with a very gorgeous and beautiful woman with fiery red hair color following Pepper. Tony saw her from the corner of his eye and was immediately distracted. Tony received a punch on the face right after that distraction. Could kill you, Bruce said after hitting him. Hello boys. Thomas, how is the babysitting going on? Pepper asked Alfred, who was watching the fight from the sofa. In the presence of others, Bruce and Alfred had different names. Bruce was named as Lucian and Alfred as Thomas. It's fine, Miss Potts. Master Stark can be handful, but I can take care of him, Alfred said. Alfred had been looking after both of them while Pepper was busy managing the company. That's good. Tony, I need your signatures for the last time. It's about the handover for the company, Pepper asked Tony. Bruce looked at the beautiful woman. He instantly felt that the woman wasn't simple. Being an assassin himself, he could feel that the woman was like him, a trained personnel. Bruce wasn't sure if she was an enemy, but he made a defensive pose instinctively. The woman saw that and smiled at Bruce instead. Bruce was confused but kept his guard up. Hello, what's your name, lady? Tony asked her. Rushman, Natalie Rushman, she said. No, she is not, Bruce said under his breath. Come here. Help me take my position and fight this guy, Tony told her. She happily obliged while Tony got down and sat with Pepper. Chapter 52, Monaco. As she went to the arena, she became serious and her body language changed to a fighting mode. She knew that the guy in front of him wasn't simple. Bruce punched at her abdomen immediately, which she defended by both her hands. She initiated a kick from the other side towards his upper body, which he dodged. This small, harmless and flashy moves went on for a couple of seconds. Then Bruce suddenly wrapped his hands around her neck from behind after dodging her previous punch and asked coldly in a whispering voice, Who are you? I am Natasha, an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I am here to evaluate Tony, she said as she was trying to free herself. Bruce loosened his hands and she fell down. This guy is really not simple. I took lessons from the ninjas and he could still overpower me, she said under her breath. She was the famous Black Widow. The last few months she went to the world of Naruto to learn the way of the ninjas. She was accompanied by other agents like Clint, Romlo, and others. Even though they couldn't replicate the way of ninjas because of no presence of chakra, they still learned some tricks. And even got to learn how to use weapons such as kunai, shuriken, and even paper bombs. These new ways fascinated her and other agents. All the agents realized that all those training over these years would mean nothing in front of a Chunin, let alone the higher Jonin levels. This was the miracle of chakra and all felt extremely powerless, so all worked hard to overcome their gaps. Tony and Pepper didn't notice this small interaction. Tony just felt he was hard on her, so said Lucian, She just a lady. Please go easy on her, Tony commented. Sometimes he wondered if Bruce would have a girlfriend in the future. His cold manner kept everybody out. It's fine, Mr. Stark. He is a good teacher. My 2 months of defense classes proved nothing in front of him, Natasha lied immediately. Well, he is an expert, Tony said. I want an assistant like her, he added. Thomas is enough for you. Pepper left after saying that. Soon, the day to travel to Monaco came. John came with Bruce and Tony, accompanied by Pepper, Happy, Alfred and Natasha. John was not surprised seeing her. She already knew from Bruce's memories. Even though John gave his summoned characters full autonomy, but still would check their memories from time to time. In the same way he knew that S.H.I.E.L.D. agents went to Naruto world. He even saw Hydra agents, but he didn't stop them because it was almost negligible of what they could learn from their world, and they could never invade the Naruto world. The world was closed entirely and in a different plane, and they could never enter their plane without permission, so he didn't really care. Natasha, on the other hand, had different thoughts than John. According to Fury, he knew her from before, but she was sure she had never met him before today. John supposedly knew her story from a parallel universe. Fury always felt that John wasn't as simple as he showed, so told her to be on the lookout for him and try to extract more information if possible. John smiled at her when he met her on the plane but didn't say anything. She also noticed tattoos on his arms. She felt weird but didn't ask. They finally landed in Monaco and went for the high-end hotel. The next day all went to attend the Grand Prix. Pepper could sense something was wrong with Tony. On asking, he always denied, so she stopped poking her nose. Justin Hammer was also there and Tony didn't let go of the chance of insulting him as usual. As all were having food at the table, Tony suddenly vanished by excusing himself. When they noticed that Tony was missing for a few minutes, they got curious of what happened. Suddenly Pepper saw Tony in the racetrack replacing the driver in television. Pepper was surprised after seeing this and got worried because racing wasn't for the faint-hearted. Bruce raised his eyebrows but didn't say anything. A person who was dying tended to be self-destructive. Bruce, you should go near the race track. Wear a mask. Tony might need help, John said. Bruce was surprised by what John said but left immediately. Pepper, did you bring the suitcase? John asked Pepper. Yes. Why, John? Is something going to happen? Pepper was more worried now by the question. Well, something might happen, but you don't have to worry about it. Bruce is here. Miss Natasha, you should call Fury. He needs to hand over the archives to Tony. It's almost time, John said while looking at Natasha. Well, it seems like my hard-earned cover is blown instantly, Natasha said with a sweet smile. John even felt his heart racing at that moment. He had forgotten how beautiful Natasha was. Her figure alone could kill many people. Natasha, aren't you Natalie? Who is Fury? Are you a spy of another company? Pepper asked, now agitated, while looking at Natasha. But John said it's fine. She is here to protect Tony. You need to go, Pepper. Chapter 53, The Whiplash. Tony just completed a lap and was proceeding to the second one. But as he was driving, he saw a man on the track walking on the track from afar who was wearing a very rudimentary exoskeleton on his body while holding a 2 lashes on his hands that was sparkling with electricity running through the lashes. There was a half-cut car behind the man, signifying the man had damaged the car with his lashes. Tony wanted to stop his car, but he was cruising very fast. The man hit his car with the lashes. It immediately cut his car in the front, which catapulted his car in the air forward and crash landed upside down few meters ahead. Tony wanted to get out of his car, but he was stuck and the man with the lashes was approaching him slowly. As he was approaching, there were suddenly 5 sharp knives that looked like bats stuck the track in a circular shape between Tony and him. The moment the knives stuck, there was blue spark like electricity around it, and the next moment there was a huge wall of at least 10 inches thick that rose from the ground, diving Tony and the man in lashes, covering both side ends of the track. Thanks, Bruce, Tony murmured. This was alchemy. Bruce took the alchemy path as he felt that it could help people with injuries and launch long-range powerful attacks. Tony liked alchemy more and felt alchemy was better and researched on it. The man in lashes was dumbfounded by the wall that formed in front of him. The wall was so thick that he couldn't destroy it immediately. He could see the whole wall that rose was formed by the ground underneath, as it created a dip beside the wall. As Tony was thinking what he should do, as he was sure this wall wasn't going to stop this man for more than a minute, he heard a car engine from behind. He saw his Rolls-Royce car approaching him. After it stopped in front of him, Tony's eyes gleamed as he understood his help was here. Tony took the suitcase from Happy and opened it. The suitcase slowly transformed into a suit. It was exactly the same as the Mark IV suit in the original world. The only difference was that there were special writings and signs all over the arms leading till the elbow. Tony had drawn the iron alchemic transmutation circle all over the suit in his arms, exactly the same as the Iron Blood alchemist in the anime. Tony felt safe now, as he now had enough equipment to fight this new man. He didn't think much about this new man, but the arc reactor on his chest surprised him. He always thought only he had that technology. As the wall in front of him broke down by the continuous barrage of the lashes, the man came through the damaged wall. Without uttering a single sentence, he immediately attacked Tony. Tony dodged on the side while clenching his fist. He stuck both of his knuckles together. This instantly created a blue lightning spark like before, but this time it was in his arms. He hit the ground with both his arms, and suddenly bunch of iron chains rose from the ground. The chains flew towards the man in lashes and immediately bounded him before he could react. It wrapped around his arms, legs and abdomen, rendering him immovable. The chains that came out of the ground created a 3-meter wide depth as the iron content on the road wasn't so high. Tony even had to use the iron fences on the sides to compensate for iron deficiency around. "What the hell is this?" the man shouted. "Alchemy. You should study more," Tony replied as he approached the man. He saw the arc reactor on the man's chest and removed it. "Where did you get it?" Tony asked him directly. "Ha ha ha. You lose, Stark. You lose. Ha ha ha," the man replied hysterically. The authorities came seconds later. Tony removed the chains after striking it with his hands. The surrounding audience looked at him with an astonished expression. This new kind of power surprised everybody. What the hell was that? I thought Tony Stark could only use missiles and fly around. Where did this new electricity come from? Those chains and wall rose from the ground. Does Tony Stark have some special powers? One person in the audience said. "I don't know, but it looked so cool. Bringing the chains out from ground and making that wall." Another person replied. Everybody thought that the wall was created by Tony, as almost nobody saw the batarangs that stuck the road. Even though many people followed the works of John, but most of the people disdained watching animated series as they felt it was beneath their age to watch these, so most of them hadn't watched the series. John had given the knowledge of alchemy to Tony because it would help the people understand that the knowledge of alchemy was real, and in this way many people would watch the series and gain more fan values via that. Tony would act as the greatest advertiser there ever was. Chapter 54, Self-Destructive Mode. Tony came back from the track after putting away the suit. He saw Bruce and others sitting in the table while most of others left who were attending the race due to security reasons. "You selfish piece of sh*t. What were you thinking? Do you know how dangerous it was? You were almost killed just now. Do you even think of others who care about you?" Pepper shouted in a very loud voice. Tony just kept his head down. He knew this was dangerous and it was his fault. Bruce and John didn't comment on anything as they knew why Tony was acting weird. A person who was dying might act in a self-destructive way. This was normal. And especially a person like Tony, who all his life had been in control of everything. "Thanks, Bruce, for the help. You saved my life again," Tony said to Bruce without replying to Pepper because he knew no amount of apologizing would remedy the situation. Bruce just gave a nod and didn't say anything. Who was he anyways? How does he have the arc reactor? Tony murmured. "He is Ivan Vank, son of Anton Vank. Anton was a colleague of your father, Howard. That's how he knows the arc reactor. Anton wanted to make money out of the arc reactor, so Howard deported him to Soviet Union. Ivan inherited all the knowledge from his father, so that led to this situation. Your previous generations of hatred continued till now," John said in one breath. "What? You know him? Son of father's colleague. That's a first. He has been arrested already, so it doesn't matter. But now the Senate will come after my posterior soon." "What a headache," Tony said. He didn't ask the validity of John's claim. Being able to dream of various universes came with a perk of a peek in the future. At least, that's what Tony believed. Everybody returned to USA after this event as this destroyed the mood of everybody. The birthday of Tony was approaching fast and Tony was thinking of enjoying it to his fullest, as it might be his last birthday, although he might get help from the Naruto world, but he didn't have enough confidence if they will listen to him. John could always help Tony with his poisoning, but he wanted Tony to go through this cycle. It was important to build his character, and this would also catapult his company to a much higher level in the energy sector after he invents the new element. That's why he told Natasha to inform Fury. It was useless to play long mind games, though he wasn't sure if Fury would listen to him. After they returned, the story of Tony followed exactly as the same as Iron Man 2. Tony did more outrageous things, and on his birthday he used his suit to entertain the guests. Bruce didn't stop him as he knew Tony's situation. He even asked John for his help. John just told him not to worry, so Bruce left Tony to his instruments. As the birthday celebration continued, Rhodes came and saw the mess Tony had created. He was angry because he had been working hard to defend Tony. The U.S. military wanted to tear down his house and take away his suit. The Senate also suspected that Tony had new knowledge which was called alchemy. They did research on it and found out the powers of it through the series that John created. They immediately approached John to give them the information of it. John just said it was the property of Tony and he was the owner of the knowledge. John didn't even hesitate to pit Tony. Tony had shield behind his back, so he was sure that it would only a slight inconvenience to Tony with the knowledge of alchemy. Actually, even if John said he had the knowledge of alchemy, the Senate couldn't force him to reveal this, as it fell under the jurisdiction of S.H.I.E.L.D., and John, being a consultant of S.H.I.E.L.D., was already safe from the hounds of Senate. It's just that John always subconsciously forgets that he was the consultant of S.H.I.E.L.D., because of the presence of Hydra. Rhodes went to the laboratory to wear a suit and came back to the upper level where the celebration was going on. "Shut it down!" Rhodes shouted with anger. All, except Bruce, immediately left. Tony, who heard this, didn't pay attention and asked the DJ to continue playing the song. Then the fight ensued. And the fight followed like it was supposed to be, with a huge blast at the end caused by their both hand thrusters. Tony was thrown away by the blast and felt unconscious. After Rhodes came out of the mess, he saw Bruce standing a little far looking at him. "I thought you are here to make him better. You disappointed me," Rhodes said to Bruce. Rhodes, being a great friend of Tony, knew the identity of Bruce. "Do you really think you can just walk away with Tony's suit without him allowing it? If you think so, then it means you don't really know Tony," Bruce replied. Rhodes was stunned when he heard that. But when he thought about it, he couldn't understand why Tony was behaving so weirdly. He looked at Tony with a complicated expression and then flew away to the U.S. Air Force Base. Chapter 55, The New Element. The next day, when Tony got his bearings, he flew away wearing his suit. He needed some air and wanted to eat burger and donut. As he was eating while sitting on the roof of the fast food joint, Fury appeared out of nowhere and instructed him to come down. "I told you I won't join your superhero boy band. You already have Bruce. Last I remember I was rejected," Tony said while sitting in the cafe opposite to Fury. "Bruce told me that you have palladium poisoning and your days are numbered," Fury said instead. "I know. I have been trying to use every known element, every combination and permutation possible. There is no replacement to it," Tony said, "and I am here to tell you that you haven't tried everything possible," Fury replied. "We have much to talk about, Mr. Stark. Let's go to your home," Fury added. After reaching Tony's place, they could see there were repairing being done. It was probably Bruce who ordered it. "Hello, Bruce. How are you holding up?" Fury said after having a handshake with him. "Well, I can't complain. Tony gives me everything I want," Bruce shrugged and said without taking any note of the emotions of Tony. "Hey, we are here to talk about me. You said I didn't try all possible elements. What do you mean by that?" Tony interjected. Fury then told him of Howard's invention and said that only Tony could complete his works. Tony didn't believe him, as he always felt his father was a cold and calculative man. Fury didn't reply to that and instead gave him a box of archives that was left by Howard for Tony. "Howard was the founder of S.H.I.E.L.D., so in a way your well-being is our responsibility. Find a cure soon, Tony. I will always keep an eye on you. I have told Bruce to assist you on this new research. He will be your babysitter till you find a result," Fury said before leaving. Tony opened the archives and soon found out his unfinished notes and a video where Howard saying that the model of the Stark Expo was the future. He ended the video saying Tony was his best creation. Tony got emotional by that, as he felt that he might have misunderstood his father. "Seems like you misunderstood your father," Bruce said from behind. "Master Stark, your father seems like a good man." Bruce didn't get to see his father for a long time. "A family's love is immense," Alfred added while bringing drinks for them. Tony just smiled and didn't say anything while Bruce felt a little sad remembering his parents. "We will need to bring this model of Stark Expo. It might be the key to your problem," Bruce said. "Yes, we do. Jarvis, tell Drift to bring out the car. We are going to take a ride," Tony said. As they went outside, a white sports Audi car came driving by itself. "Drift, take me to the headquarters of Stark Industries," Tony said. "Hop in. It's good to make a round," a voice said from car. Drift was the name given to his Audi car, which got transformed with the help of the Cube. After going to Stark Industries, he took the model of the Stark Expo and tried apologizing to Pepper for his deeds, as his recent deeds had been outrageous and it had put too much pressure in the company and her. After a small talk, he came back. "Jarvis, scan the model and give me a digital wireframe of it," Tony said. After the scan was done, he rotated the projection. "Remove the shrubs, trees, buildings, parks, and exits," Bruce added while looking at the model. That's what I was thinking. Take the frame of streets and lanes as protons and neutrons and add it to the center. Tony continued to it. The whole model now looked like an atom model. Enlarge it, Bruce commanded. The whole atom model looked stunning. There was a silence. Alfred, who was looking into it, finally joked. Congratulations for winning the next year's Nobel Prize. We don't have the technology to synthesize it. Jarvis said again. We have work to do, fellas. Time to break this house down. Tony said, getting up excitedly. After a day's hard work and tearing half of the home down, they finally built the necessary machine to make the new element. We should go live in New York. John is there. He might need help. He is handling the empire alone, Bruce said after making the machine. You are right. California looks boring now and this house is almost ruined, Tony said. After a hard work and destroying more of his property, he finally was able to create a new element. Jarvis informed that his arc reactor could be replaced now with this new element. It was more efficient and totally clean. Tony jumped with joy as he had finally found the cure. Chapter 56, The Whiplash, 2. In the meantime, following the events in Monaco, Justin Hammer managed to free Yvonne from prison and cut a deal with him for making suits while Justin would provide the necessary equipment and arrangements. Yvonne said that he could help him making drones instead of suits, as that would be more safe. Hammer accepted this proposal instantly and finally decided on showing his creation in the Stark Expo with that help of Yvonne. But Yvonne had other plans. He had a thirst for revenge against Tony, so he installed a remote inside the drone suit to control them. The only difference in this world was that there were larger number of drones than in the original world. Tony's powers in Monaco scared him a bit and he wanted to have a proper protection this time. The next day in the Stark Expo, Hammer presented the drone suits. Even Rhodes joined in the presentation. At the moment of presentation, Tony got a call from Yvonne saying that he would take revenge for all the bad things that happened to him due to Tony's family. Bruce, we need to go. Time to suit up. Tony said. Are you sure you want to use the new core? We didn't even have a test run, Bruce said. Doesn't matter. Pepper is in the expo, Tony said while suiting up. Drift, you drive towards the expo for damage control. Bruce, you need to find the location of Yvonne. We need to shut him down. Tony said. Yes, Batwing, let's go, we have work to do, Bruce said after he sat on the pilot seat. Like Drift, Batwing 2 was a transformer, thanks to the cube. They both flew away after that. Bruce had a new suit which was made as a combination of metal and Kevlar. Tony landed in the event and said to Rhodes, we need to get these people out of here. It's not safe. What? Why? What happened? Rhodes said with guilt as he felt he had betrayed Tony after letting Justin modify his suit. Yvonne is alive. He is behind the drones here and he is coming after us. Justin, where is Yvonne? Justin, who was still giving presentations, was shocked about hearing this. Justin had made sure that nobody knew of Yvonne, but now Tony knew. Justin was sweating inside. Tony, I don't know what you are talking about. Justin denied on the spot. Tony, we have target locked, Rhodes said from behind. Who is the target? Tony asked. It's you. Run, Tony, Rhodes shouted as all the drones had missiles and guns pointing on him. Tony had to fly away because there were people around the event and he didn't want people to die in crossfire. The firing of bullets caused people to panic and run away. As Tony flew away, Bruce came and confronted Justin. Where's Yvonne? I will give to 10 seconds to answer. After that your fingers will start coming off. Batman asked him. Hey, I told already I don't have any clue. We need to control the drones, somebody might have hacked it. It might be even you who wants me to be in bad press. Justin said. 9-8, I need my lawyer. Justin continued. 6-5, fine. He is in the old warehouse of Hammer Industries. Justin was trembling, finally said. Bruce climbed up to the Batwing who was hovering nearby and flew away to the location given by Justin. He needed to stop Yvonne and reboot Rhodes' suit. Bruce couldn't hack into the suit as it was on a private server. He went inside the warehouse after knocking down the security. As he went inside the control room, he saw there was no Yvonne. Bruce took out his phone and said, Toolbox, hack into the server and shut down all drones and reboot Rhodes' suit. The mobile immediately transformed into a four-legged robot with two hands. Toolbox put his hands on the ports of the CPU and the screen of the main computer changed and showed various command prompts. After few seconds, Toolbox finally said, I have rebooted Rhodes' suit and stopped the drones, but these drones are rigged to blow later. We will have to manually go to the scene and disable it. Toolbox said. Damn it. Tony, did you hear that? You will have to lead the drones away from people. There is no Yvonne here. He might be coming after you. I am on the way. Batman said. Tony, who was standing in front of Rhodes as he was been rebooted, heard what Bruce said. As Rhodes' suit came online, they were ready to lead the drones away, but as they were about to fly away, Yvonne, wearing a new and improved suit which covered the whole body, came flying down. It's good to be back, Yvonne said as he took out his electrified lashes. These lashes were much longer and thicker than the last ones. Chapter 57. Fight. I have got something for this guy, Rhodes said as he took out the launcher for the missile called Ex-Wife and launched it towards Yvonne. But it immediately bounced off after hitting Yvonne's suit without even exploding. Never trust Hammer. I told you, Tony said with sarcasm. Rhodes started firing bullets, but it did nothing to Yvonne as he had a strong armor. He used his whip to hit both of them, but they dodged. I need to be near his suit to do alchemy. The iron content in this place is low and it won't be able to stop his armor nor his whip, Tony said. The fight ensued as it was supposed to in the original world, with both the whip bounding the bodies of Tony and Rhodes. As Yvonne was holding them, 5 batarangs stuck near his ground. After seeing this, Yvonne had a bad premonition. In Monaco too it had happened before a wall was formed. Before Yvonne could react, the place where the knives stuck the ground bulged forward fast like huge log and hit his body. Yvonne was thrown away a few meters. Tony and Rhodes were freed instantly as Yvonne let go of his whips. Tony got an opening and came to Yvonne, who was lying down. After striking his 2 fists together, he touched the armor of Yvonne. The armor distorted crazily while giving out sparks of blue lightning, and the whole armor opened by itself. It was the iron alchemy which made the armor fall apart. Tony pointed his hand thrusters on the face and said, "You don't think my name of Iron Man is just a name, do you?" Tony said. "You still lose, Stark. I have rigged all the drones. Haha, people will die and you won't be able to do anything." Yvonne laughed. "We know that. That's why I let Cinch, Toolbox, Drift and Batwing to take care of it," said a bland and deep voice from behind. "That's impossible, there are so many drones. Your friends won't be able to save everyone," Yvonne said as his face changed as he saw Batman arriving from the shadows. He knew that he has failed in all his pursuit. "You need to do your homework, Yvonne. I have more friends than I have shown." Ivan's suit suddenly made a beeping sound. Tony understood what Yvonne wanted to do, so he flew away. Bruce and Rhodes too left the next second as Yvonne had rigged his own suit too. They didn't want to save Yvonne, as a lunatic like him who was consumed by revenge was beyond saving. Tony flew towards Pepper's location. As he saw Pepper standing near his Audi car, he knew that Drift had kept her safe. He was relieved after seeing this. Tony really thanked John in his heart, as the cube had saved all of them. Drift and Batwing were able to dismantle the drones which were lying damaged without anyone nearby, while Toolbox and Cinch went to disable the drones which were in open public. They did it sneakily as they didn't want people to know the existence of Transformers yet. They did all this when Yvonne, Tony, and Rhodes were fighting. "Thanks, Drift. Thank God you are all right, Pepper," Tony said. "I quit from being CEO. This job isn't for me," Pepper said. Tony was surprised by this, but he didn't accept the resignation. He apologized to Pepper, saying it's because he was dying that he was acting weird. They had a long conversation while at the end Tony finally ended up with kissing Pepper. The next day Tony came to a secret base for S.H.I.E.L.D. and sat opposite of Nick Fury. "This is the evaluation given by Agent Romanoff and Bruce. Read it," said Fury after handing him a file written Avengers Initiative. Personality report. Mr. Stark displays compulsive behavior. That was last week. Prone to self-destructive tendency. Damn. Bruce is my enemy number 1. Come on, I was dying. Textbook narcissism. Agreed to that. Recruitment assessment for Avengers Initiative. Iron Man, yes. See, I am still good. Tony said. Read on. Fury continued. Tony Stark, not recommended. Tony said with puzzled expression. How can you recommend me but not recommend me? It means that at this juncture we can't hire you as a consultant, Fury said. Tony got up and did a handshake with Fury, saying, "You can't afford me. By the way, I need a small favor. Rhodey and I are being awarded. We need a presenter," Tony said with a smile. "I will see what I can do," Fury said. At the award ceremony, Rhodes and Tony were both presented the award by the same Senate who tried taking away Tony's suit on the basis of national defense and security concerns. Tony really felt happy at this as he never forgets to take revenge when he can. Chapter 58, Meeting Her / The romance in the story is cringe and it is inconsequential to the whole part. I would suggest that you should ignore it. I just wanted to add the part so that some people who liked romance would be happy with it. The female one be around too much, so I hope you all will stop shouting about it. Thank you / In the last 9 months after the emergence of Tony Stark as Iron Man and Bruce Wayne, the world went crazy. In the previous years his early fan value earning was around 330 million / per year. Now it had jumped to 400 million. All thanks to new works and of course the emergence of the mysterious Batman. Ding total fan value, 250 million. Urging the host to work hard, John had already announced that there would a new Batman movie, a sequel to the previous one. Everybody was excited as they felt it was like a life story of a superhero, like the one with Captain America. John had already thought of a new character to be brought to life soon. He didn't want to bring a world as that would cost too much. The world of Naruto came with a discount. The next worlds would cost very much. He had already inquired. Even a very simple world with a decent amount of power will cost him more than 2 billion. John didn't want to go down that route. He wanted to bring a single realistic character which could influence all and boost his yearly fan value earnings. When the character is brought to life, he had plans to bring another world, but it would take time, and he has enough patience to endure it. It's still 2 years before Thor comes to Earth and he would have enough time for bringing a suitable character. Till then he could bring low-budget characters to the world and influence the world more. It's just that he could not think of low-budget characters. For now. As for now I don't need any characters. Only thing I lack is being sniped by a bullet, as I wouldn't have enough time to change. I need a protection for that. For that only one movie comes to my mind. The VFX of this world has almost caught up with the movies of 2021. So it would be easier to make the movie. Let me call Bob. I need that movie soon, John thought in his mind and called Bob to make a new movie. That year, 2008, Disney won the Best Animated Movie again for WALL-E. And this too, like always, was created by John. So in March he had to go LA to receive the Oscars again. John was bored of Oscars as every year he had to go and put up with people who he doesn't even know. His father and Val accompanied him for first 2 times. Later they just stopped. He cursed his luck as this time even Tony bailed on him, saying he was moving to New York so he had work to do. Moving to New York is a big deal for him? All he does is lays around and Alfred running around. I miss the Playboy Tony, John lamented in his heart as stepped out of his car. Soon the reporters flocked towards him as usual. Sir, you said that there will be a new Batman movie. Will it based on the fight that happened this year? A reporter asked. No. Of course no. This story will be based on his past like the previous one. John replied. Sir, what are your plans for the future? What movies can we expect? Another reporter asked. There will be a space sci-fi movie soon and some movies which won't be produced by me. John replied and turned his head as he wanted to leave this torture soon, but then he saw something that he would never forget in his entire life. He saw a woman of his age with burgundy hair color till her shoulders and wearing a black dress standing in a pose while the photographers taking her pictures. John was so mesmerized that he stopped for a second to appreciate the beauty. After a momentary daze, he took his eyes off as he was in public and couldn't be shameless enough to be labeled as someone who ogles at a woman. In all his life here he had seen many beautiful characters, the famous Hollywood stars and beautiful girls all around who were trying to approach him, but he never cared. Firstly, he wasn't sure if he would survive the future. There are too many variables in his life, and secondly he didn't have enough time to have any kind of romantic relationship with anyone. His father even urged him to go out with someone, but he always refused. In his previous life he had a girlfriend, but later they had to break up. It turned too much toxic at the end. He didn't want to repeat any such cycle, but the woman he saw just now was probably the woman of his dreams. In his previous life he watched all her movies and was a great fan of her, both in movies and real life. She was the famous girl from Harry Potter movies, Emma Watson. Chapter 59, Meeting Her. 2. After John came to this life he checked if there were movies from his previous life. He saw that there were Star Wars movies already been made and the Harry Potter books, so he immediately removed these 2 worlds from his mind. so he never cared about it after that. Though John felt it was a huge loss, especially the Star Wars movies, but he accepted it. This was the first time he had seen Emma up close, and she looked more beautiful in real than in real life. Even though she still looked quite young, but her beauty was already apparent. John had a huge temptation to go and ask her for an autograph, but finally thought better. I will ask for an autograph later. Then John went inside the gallery for the event. Soon, everything played out like it was supposed to. He went to receive the Academy Award for the Best Animated Movie. He thanked the audience and said that Disney will always continue producing animated movies as this was their legacy. After the award ceremony ended, it was time for the Oscars party. Normally John always hated this event, but today he was looking forward to it. He wanted this opportunity to ask for the autograph and see her up close. He was trembling inside thinking about it. After the party started, he met various stars and acted normally, but he kept an eye if Emma was free for him to approach. Finally he saw her free in a bar sitting by herself. Her age didn't allow her to drink in USA, so she just sat there. Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint, who came with her, went for a dance. After being invited to the dance floor by others, she was asked to, but she rejected. "Hello, Miss Watson. Can I have an autograph?" John said after he came near her in the most politest way possible for him. He was shaking inside in fear that she would reject him. "Wow, one of the biggest tycoons in the world is asking for my autograph. I should be honored," she replied. "I am your biggest fan, so I couldn't stop myself from asking it." John replied with a smile. "Sure, I will give an autograph if you take this seat," Emma said with a smile while pointing at the seat beside her. "Sure, Miss Watson, I would love to," John replied. "You can call me Emma. I think we are of almost same age, so I don't think that there should be much formality," she said. "Sure. You can call me John then," John said. "How are you liking the party?" John added. "I will be honest, this is my first time attending such a huge party with glamour and shine. It's really not my liking," Emma said honestly. "You do know that your answer will raise many eyebrows here if you say it out loud," John said with a straight face. "I know, but I don't really care. I believe you two don't like it that much," Emma replied. "Well, I too don't like it, but how did you guess that?" John asked with interest. "I guessed it. A celebrity like you almost don't generate any gossip. The only big gossip they could generate after years was Batman and evaluating if you are Batman. Such person generally don't like too much glamour. Even though you are a friend of Tony Stark, but you are the exact opposite of him," she said. "After evaluation, I am impressed." "Well, not that impressed, as I had already known you would be able to guess it," John said. "It seems like you know about me. Tell me, John, what do you guess about me?" Emma asked. "Not much actually. I just know you are kind, care about the planet and the people around. You want to change the world, especially for women who suffer all over the world due to injustice," John said after recalling her works in public in his previous life. This impressed Emma more as John was accurate to the point. "I am thoroughly impressed, John, I have to say," Emma replied. John thanked her for the compliment with a laugh. "Would you like to dance with me?" Emma finally said. "Dance? But I actually don't know much about it. Forgive me if I make wrong steps," John replied, as he honestly didn't know much about dancing. He only learned it a little after being forced by his father, as Jameson didn't want to shame John in public places such as this. "It won't matter, I don't know much about it myself," Emma said sweetly. John felt he was living in dreams. He had never imagined of being able to have a dance with the famous Emma Watson. His heart was beating fast, as he couldn't believe his luck. John took her hand and went to the dance floor and slowly started dancing with the slow music being played. He was way too much happy at that point of time and felt it was worthwhile of being transmigrating to the MCU. Chapter 60, the second trailer. "You dance pretty decent," Emma said after dancing for few minutes. "Thank you. I was just following your lead, to be honest, and praying that I don't step on your feet," John said with a laugh. They both realized that many eyes were on them as they were dancing. Emma felt a little shy as she noticed it. "Seems like tomorrow the first gossip of you will come out," Emma said with a serious face. "I never cared about their gossips, and it's fine even if they come out with one," John said a little boldly this time. Emma blushed a little from this but didn't say anything. "I want to ask a question," Emma asked after few seconds. "Sure, ask away," John said. "What does the tattoo in your hand mean? I have never seen such kind of tattoo before." It's not something satanic, is it? Emma asked. You even noticed that? Well, for now I can't say much about it. But it's nothing satanic or bad. Maybe one day I will explain. Its meaning? John said with a mysterious tone. One day? I hardly come to the States. I am not sure when we will meet next time. Emma said with a hint of regret. We can exchange numbers if you feel like. John finally gathered up his courage and asked for it. Emma gave a very sweet smile to it and said sure. I will be looking forward to the explanation of your tattoos. After exchanging numbers and having a small talk, they left after bidding farewell to each other. He even met the other two actors of Harry Potter and took their autographs too. They were surprised that John was a fan of Harry Potter but was happy about it. John returned the next day after the party, and many entertainment tabloids really printed the news that he danced with Emma. John was surprised a bit but didn't pay much attention. After coming back, he called Kevin and asked him about the progress of the Batman sequel. Everything is going fine. The movie will come out by the end of the year. Boss, do you have any more project? Kevin asked John. As a matter of fact, I do. Here is the script and related music required and general direction of the story. It's also a superhero movie and will be set in the same world as Batman's. John said same world as Batman. This raised an eyebrow of Kevin. Because Batman is actually real in this world, wouldn't it mean that this new superhero might actually exist? But Kevin didn't ask and went through the story. After reading the story, Kevin was pretty sure that the story wasn't real, as it was a story based on mythology. The months passed by pretty smoothly. After settling down in New York, Tony and Bruce even went to meet John for many times and had talks about future plans. He suggested some interesting things that helped them. They even discussed alchemy, and the proposed fight happened between John and Tony finally happened. Tony was devastated at the end. Even though he chose the arena of metal, but John's use of decomposition alchemy ruined all his attacks, and on top of that he had to defend against John's fire attacks. John even practiced fighting with Bruce, as John needed a proper coach in hand-to-hand fights. His alchemy wasn't invincible and he needed experience. Bruce, on the other hand, went around New York City to clean trashes, especially places like Harlem and Hell's Kitchen. Wilson Fisk was rising very sharply, so Bruce went into many of his locations and damaged many of his properties and illegal industries. The local gangs at the beginning didn't pay much attention, but after they knew it was Batman's doing, many of them went into hiding. They didn't want to provoke someone who had high connections like John and Tony Stark. Even police turned a blind eye to Bruce's night vigil. Both John and Tony donate millions of dollars to the police department each year, so they didn't want anything to do with Batman. By the end of the year, the new trailer of sequel of Batman was out. It was called The Dark Knight. The trailer showed Joker being a person who wants to kill Batman and glimpses of his lunacy. John didn't reveal much in the trailer as he had very high hopes for the movie. Tony, who was watching the trailer, asked Bruce, what's up with this Joker guy? Does he have any special powers? Special powers? No, I don't know what's up with the Joker of the universe shown by John, but the Joker in my universe is just a lunatic. A person who will do anything to achieve his goals. Bruce said coldly. Interesting. Let's see what is up with this Joker guy. Let's hope he doesn't come to this universe. We have enough lunatics in this world, Tony said.